You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Sons of Anarchy After Show.
Well, Bing is for doing. We're doing Sons of Anarchy with AfterBuzz TV. It's Season 5, Episode 8, entitled Ablation. I'm Keven Undergaro here with my old lady.
What's up, guys? Krisily Kennedy here.
And just real quick, Steve, in the booth, tell us what is the definition of ablation?
Definition of ablation is a removal of material from the surface of an object by vaporization, chipping, or other erosive processes.
So
Pretty good word for this week's episode.
for what's going. So Jax is chipping away to find the truth.
Yeah, there's a lot of chipping away at the truth tonight.
It's interesting because, and we're going to go deep into Jax, his
Yeah.
character, and as extreme as they're making him now, you know, I wouldn't mind him just killing Clay with the evidence he has. Clay's just done enough. So
Pretty much.
So do you are you okay with this? Do you buy him saying I need proof? Do you buy that?
I think he's doing the right thing by going with the club for the long term. Short term, yeah, he should just be killed already. But long term, thinking about how this is going to affect him at the table and the long term of the club and the longevity of everything else, I understand why he's making that decision.
And it makes sense, I guess, thinking about how Opie's wife was killed based on rash decisions.
Right.
So you're right. It's much better in the long term. So that's why you're my old lady.
And he had witnesses. It wasn't like he found out the information on himself. Bobby was there, and Bobby would never let him not bring it to the table.
Right. So, okay. So it's a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start out talking about the accident. I'm surprised that the boy survived. Abel survived.
Well, we knew the baby would because he was the
Right.
one screaming, but
Right.
Abel looked not in great shape. So I
Right.
was really surprised that he made it.
And, you know, it's funny. I'm glad Jack said he's been through so much. He acknowledged the fact that he's been.
That poor kid. I
All
mean,
over
he
the
almost
world,
didn't.
yeah.
And he almost didn't make it when he was born because his mom was a drug addict, and he had the heart problem already, and then he was kidnapped. I mean, really, anything else? Poor Abel.
So what do you want to talk about first? The fact that Clay comes and bails Gemma out, or the fact? Well, I guess we should probably start.
I
with
think,
that, right?
yeah. I mean, just when Juice went to Clay, I didn't expect. I guess I shouldn't say I didn't expect Clay to go right to the hospital and try to like be the knight in shining armor.
Oh, I did.
Because I feel like there's just been so much bad blood between them.
Nope.
But then seeing how it
He's
panned out,
he's
I
such an
understood.
amazing opportunist.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't miss anything. And seeing him on the motorcycle tonight, it's like he is back.
Fully.
He is back. And do you even notice how he's stepping up? Even the way he spoke to the sheriff.
Yeah.
He was talking to him like he was the leader.
He's authoritative now, again,
Right.
which he hasn't been the last couple episodes.
He's walking around like the man.
Yeah, he thinks he's the president again.
Wow.
He is, and he stepped up and he wanted to be there for Gemma. And yes, part of it's because he loves her, but part of it is because he doesn't have anybody else.
There's nobody.
He's no one.
Well, I think he loves her as much as
he
can
can.
love anybody.
I agree.
That's it. And, you know, he also needs more allies, too.
Right.
So it's interesting that he pulls this out of his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised. I thought that this would linger for episodes, maybe even a season. But, you know, by the end of the episode, they find out the truth.
Right. Well, because Clay lied for Gemma immediately. Like, he didn't think twice about it.
Right.
He was just protecting her because he knows that her life is her family and those boys. And without Jax and those boys, she doesn't really have a purpose, or doesn't feel like she has a purpose. So lying for her, I mean, I can understand he was trying to protect her, but as we all know, it all comes out. I thought it would have taken a little
I thought
longer
it
for
would
it to
take
come
a
out as
while.
well, and I thought it would have been different. I thought Tara would have found out through the hospital or something else. But I mean, you know it's going to come out.
I'm glad it came out now.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other loose ends. I mean, there's so much plot
There's
going
so
on.
much going
We
on
don't
at
need any
once.
more, Hank.
No.
So I'm glad it came out.
Yeah.
Interesting, just Tara just, initially is like forgiving and great, and then finds out and smacks her in the face. But what I found interesting too was the fact that Gemma said twice, she referred to them as my babies. Are
Mhm.
my babies okay?
Right.
And
And
when,
Tara had said the same thing when she had found out my babies.
well, whose babies are they?
They're, well, one of them's really hers, but yeah, they're
Well,
her
whose
babies.
They're Tara's
They're
babies.
Tara's.
But think of the psychosis of
Yeah.
Gemma.
Well, I think Gemma feels like she screwed up with Jax. She wants to do it right by these boys, but she can't get out of her own way.
I also think that she's just territorial, and she's the boss. Like, she thinks that club is hers.
Oh, she
Jax
thinks it's all
is hers.
hers, and she
So
earned
I mean,
it.
it's all hers,
Right.
and those kids are hers.
Mhm.
And I thought just great writing with this, to set this up the way they did,
Absolutely.
because it's put them all in quite a position. And I know later on we're going to talk about Jax and Gemma, but
It was crazy for me that Tara was so welcoming to Gemma at the beginning, because as bad as it was, I still found a little bit of, there was a question in my head that Tara was so open-armed with Gemma after the accident.
it wasn't for me,
Really?
because when anyone, even some of the people you hate the worst, when they survive death, when they die, or when they survive death, everyone seems to drop their guard. Unless, of course, it was her fault. But once she was exonerated,
Right.
and it wasn't her fault, and now she's, grandma doing the right thing, taking the kids, and she gets caught in the sun's crossfire and almost dies, is in a hospital bed, the kids are in a hospital bed, and conceivably maybe even save them.
Right.
Whereas a normal woman would have gotten run off the road. This is a biker chick. She was
She
good enough to
knows,
swerve
right.
in the right way to keep the kids alive. So I totally buy where Tara would have been, like, as gooey as she was.
Okay.
But obviously, just as much as I buy her saying that's it, you're dead.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
done.
that
You
was
are done.
absolutely as deserved. It was very well deserved.
Yeah, very well deserved. Long time coming.
Yes.
Interesting, Clay and Nero, where Clay, again, no more being like the rounded shoulder pussy
Right.
in his, like, oxygen tank,
Yeah.
and his hunchback,
His backbone is back.
moping around and being
Mhm.
like, what's up with you two? Now he said, you stay away from her.
Or I'll kill you.
Yeah. And man, Nero is like, he's awesome.
Nero doesn't back down very often, and he's not afraid of any of them. And I respect him and his character so much
Yep.
because of that. He's one of the few characters other than Damon Pope that you don't see sometimes back down. And Nero is so entwined in this story now. And he came from nowhere and has become so entwined
Right.
that it's kind of mind-blowing a little bit. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go.
Well, he feels like a guy that's just been killed so many times.
He has nothing to lose.
He's got nothing to lose.
Right.
It's all beaten out of him. Well, I think he's just very zen. So he's about, like, taking the high road now, taking the peaceful way. But if you're gonna go the other way, then you know what? More power to you, buddy. Like, that's seems like his mantra.
Mhm.
I love the character. And the only thing is, now I love him so much, I ask myself, like, the only thing that bothers me a little bit about him is, like, what's in it for him? This guy got involved with this stupid gang in all their effing drama,
Right.
and now his life's a nightmare. I mean, like they've been a nightmare for
Like
him.
he hasn't been able to catch a break when it came to the Suns
No.
at all since
All-
he got it.
All for sleeping with Gemma.
Mhm.
He had a good setup.
Yeah,
At
he
his,
did.
He had his little escort business. It was clean. It was safe. And now he's got a nightmare on his hands.
And it's kind of amazing that he keeps going back to Gemma, even though he knows that she's kind of ultimately the root of most of the problems, even within the club at this point.
Right.
He consistently goes back to her with open arms and shows her affection and shows her love and almost a respect. And what I love is that Gemma is the best Gemma when she's with Nero.
Right.
You almost want to root for her when she's with Nero.
When she's with Nero.
She's honest. She's respectful. She feels bad. We never saw that with her when she was with Clay. So when she's with Nero, you almost want to root for her that she's going to get back on the right track.
She only felt bad for club members because their club members were like her kids.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So even with Piney, you stupid man, like she was bummed. She didn't want Piney to get killed.
Of course not.
But with this guy, you're right. She drops the whole mother boss thing and is so much more vulnerable. He's just, I don't know. It's like this. He's like the Sons of Anarchy guardian angel.
He really is.
I mean, he calms Jax down. This is how to talk to your mom. This is how to do this. I have money in my safe. Saves them with Frankie.
It's like Nero and Pope are the good angel and the bad angel. It's like they're constantly at Jax's sides, both giving him different kinds of information, but both that could be seen as good. Because Pope is kind of giving him some good information as well.
Absolutely.
Some good advice. But it's like Nero is the one that has the best intentions, and he's a little bit more kind-hearted.
Well, he's I think for Nero, he'd just be happy making a few bucks.
Yeah.
Doing something. Whereas Pope wants to take over the world.
Right.
And I feel like maybe Nero 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago was like that. But again, he's evolved. He's gone past it.
And he sees his end goal.
Right. His end goal. And he reminds him of that. You have to remember what your end goal is. Even giving him advice during an argument. So he's very, for this world, pretty altruistic. You know, what else is pretty altruistic? Our fans on iTunes.
They're amazing.
I know. We have like, Steve, do you know, other than the kids from Scandal, those guys do a pretty tight show. But we have, I don't know, 30 some odd reviews and all 5 stars.
Yeah, that's how it works when you're good hosts.
Yeah.
Aw.
When you're Krisily and you're from The Bachelor and you have a fan following.
Stop it. I would be willing to guess that the majority of Sons of Anarchy fans on AfterBuzz may not be Bachelor fans.
No?
I might be willing to throw some money on that.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. So
Well,
maybe
I'll take it if I can get it, but I think that our Sons of Anarchy fans may not be following
I hope
me
you're
in
right.
Bachelorland.
Well, anyway, please, you guys keep going to iTunes to rate and comment on us. We appreciate it. If you have questions, you can send them there. You can also send them to info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And also shout out to YouTube people. We get some YouTube love as well. And
we have, and we got great comments for the past couple weeks with the guests. Everybody loved seeing the guests. That was fun.
I love the guests.
Hopefully we're getting another guest in a couple weeks. Some behind the scenes talk I'm a little excited about.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's all on you. You're so good at that.
I'm working on it.
That's-
Twitter. Thank you, Twitter.
It's so interesting to see Mo and Chris now after we've had them in studio.
It was great to see Mo on tonight.
It was so good.
See him in his character and
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Okay, Clay and Juice. Let's talk about that exchange. Now, I always bought why Juice was helping Clay. But this exchange I found very interesting. Now, we know that the sheriff is just off his leash.
yeah, he's done.
He's violent, and there's no more wearing the uniform, and he's looking for blood. He doesn't care who he takes down now. And I buy that for what he survived. But he tells Juice that, you're back on the spit.
Yeah.
Being roasted.
Well, because
So-
he can use him. I mean, he can get what he wants, which is basically retaliation, which
Right.
is what everything that he has
Right.
stood against the past season. But he basically wants retaliation, and the only way that he's really going to get that at this point is by utilizing Juice again.
Yeah, poor Juice. And you just keep saying he's dead, he's dead.
Well, I've been saying it for a couple weeks now because just with him and his relationship with Clay and kind of being Clay's driver of sorts for the past couple weeks, now he's he knows too much. So Clay has to figure
All right, a
out.
couple things in not necessarily defense of Clay, but I always like when the characters are gray and not black and white, not totally evil or totally good. In this exchange, when he found out that Juice's dad was black, I felt like Clay reacted like,
So what?
so what?
Mm-hmm.
Just the same way he reacted after Gemma's rape. She's like, he's never going to love me again. He was like, what? That's what she thinks? I don't care about that.
Right.
And I know if that's true, that's somewhat redemptive
Mm-hmm.
for Clay.
I don't know
I
that
felt
he
that
was
was
saying.
genuine.
See, I don't. I don't feel like there's anything genuine with Clay anymore. And I think he has such an ulterior motive at all times, and he has such a long-term goal at all times. And in his conversation with Juice tonight, with them confiding in one another, nothing about it felt genuine to me. I feel like Clay.
Not even that reaction.
No.
I was just even going to give him that. Not even that reaction about finding out he had a black dad.
I think that he gave that reaction because he wanted to know why. He needed that next piece of information. And without reacting, if he reacted and went crazy and was like, that's uncalled for or whatever,
Right.
he wouldn't have gotten the next piece of
You had to get
information.
him to
So he
drop-
played it safe.
You had to get him to drop his guard.
Right. And he pushed and he pushed and he got Juice to a comfortable state
He
to get the
admitted
information.
something, but then he gave Juice something back.
Well, he had to. Because at that point, why would Juice not run and tell the rest of the club what was going on? He had to confide in Juice so that Juice felt safe.
So they
he
feel like they have
provided
a
him with-
bond.
Mhm. And now Juice will always stand up for Clay, much like Tig and Jax.
Until he gets killed.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to last. I mean, I think he'll last maybe the end of the season. Unfortunately, which is horrible because I love Theo Rossi. I love the character of Juice. I loved seeing his kind of inner struggle.
And it's sad because he's going to get outed as the rat, and he's not really a rat. But by the way Jax is behaving now, which is very very cold.
Very dark.
We're going to talk about that. I don't know if it is or it isn't. If I'm ready to say dark, but we'll talk about it. But I feel like he's not going to have any mercy on poor Juice, because I don't feel Juice is guilty.
Well, he had mercy for Bobby.
Well, what did Bobby?
And Bobby didn't really give as much information, but he was there, and he doesn't know if he's given him information. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like
But I'm saying what I'm afraid of is the new Jax is not having mercy for anybody. I think he's just.
I think it all depends on how it comes out.
Well, I would love to see. Listen, the writing's on the wall to see him killed.
Mm-hmm.
So we can hope that a lot of times writers don't like to do what you expect them to do, or what seems predictable.
So hopefully that means he stays.
Yeah. So hopefully he stays. You know, Steve, what can you tell us about this Afterblog thing I keep hearing so much about?
The Afterblog?
Yeah.
Well, you can check out AfterBuzzTV.com, and we'll have lots of links to various blogs for lots of good shows, and it has a lot of more information than you wouldn't have gotten from the AfterBuzz.
Okay. And how many do we have so far?
I think we have about 5.
5?
Yeah.
Are the hosts writing the Afterblogs?
Well, we work with hosts, but we also work with some other
writers,
predominant writers and bloggers.
People that are more writers than they are hosts. And the nice thing is they know they get they have a couple of days, say after a show, so they can really delve into areas we can't. And then they'll listen to our shows, so they can take our information and break it down even further and give you insight. I know with us we have Boardwalk Empire, and Jason Squamata does Boardwalk Empire, and he does Doctor Who.
And then we have a Once Upon a Time blog as well. And I mean, the one thing that a lot of people, that the hosts know and they like to talk about, is that we don't get to watch the show twice before doing the after show. So we do miss a few things, but the bloggers take care of that. And
awesome.
Yeah, so please check them out and rate, and you don't have to rate, but at least comment, send them some love. I can't wait when we're gonna at some point we're gonna do a relaunch of our website, and it'll right now, as Phil always says, it's a portal, not a destination. You know, you go there and it takes you to, say, our shows, but it's not a place to just go and chat and be with other fans, and that's, I think, the goal for 2013. So
cool.
Anyway, these are the steps we're moving in that direction. All right, so finally, talking about Jax. So let's start with Jackson Pope. So they have a great exchange.
Jax took a big risk by sending him the hand. Like, that was a big risk on his part.
And let's talk about that. The way he chopped those hands off.
That's why I'm saying Jax has gone a little bit dark.
Okay, so now can I counter?
Yes.
I wonder if it's more that he is now ready to lead, be cold, make the unpopular decisions. I mean, these are the things of leaders, which most people don't want to do. Is it now him losing his emotions when it comes to leadership, making those tough decisions? And that's what I'm wondering. Like, when I see that, when we saw that he shot, not the Nomad, but the guy from
Van
Chino.
Driver.
Yeah. I feel like the old Jax would have let him go. He got the information. The guy was honest. I feel like the old Jax would have let him go.
But he didn't just shoot him and kill him. Like, he put
Shot him in the
bullets
stomach.
in his stomach and then just let him fall to his death. And then it was the snow globe. It's like he is taking it that next step. He's not just killing them and being done with them.
But
he's like brutally putting them in pain.
You're right. With Charlie Hunnam, at least you're right. He's playing it with, like, he's
You can see
angry.
his eyes. His
Yeah.
eyes even change,
Yeah.
which kudos to Charlie, because it's brilliant the way he does
By the way,
that.
I've been noticing his walk. Do you ever notice he's got this, like, interesting swagger?
He does.
Right? When he
does.
wears the colors. He's got, like, this always, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, I think you're right, because Charlie, he does have this kind of scowl when he's doing it. But then you see him being loving with Tara, so that's why I don't know how much of this isn't him now. If any fans of Walking Dead, I bet you we have crossover fans,
I'm
but
sure.
I'm noticing on Walking Dead, even the character of Rick is now the way he killed the prisoner, like last week. He's where he would have season 1 been more like emotional, a little weaker, and said, "Oh, geez, I'll forgive you," or "Let's set up a fair trial," or now it's like, boom, he just kills the guy.
I feel like that's
What were you gonna say?
Well, we're seeing that a lot in like current shows. Is people enjoy when you have a character that stays the same throughout 3 to 4 seasons. People are not enjoying it as much. So we have a lot of the shows on AMC like Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and Sons of Anarchy on FX. They like to have the main character change subtly, and then when you watch it like 1 season to 4 seasons later, you want to see a huge.
You want to see an arc.
Yeah.
It's a character arc, and I feel like with Jax, he's always been the kid. Then he was the second in charge, and now he's the leader. But it was like it's been soft footing. But I feel like to lead a biker club, you've got to be a badass. You've got to make the unpopular decisions. You have to have ice running through your veins. Then with your family, it's different.
And
but
I feel
that's
like
true of any leader.
Right, but I feel like we knew once Opie was killed, we knew that that's where the rest of the season was going to go. It was going to be this battle within Jax on which road he's going to take. If he's going to take that cold, killing, brutal road, or if he's going to be able to do it the way that he thought he was going to be able to do it.
I think he's going to take the cold road, and much like Pope, if he has to kill, great, and if not, he won't. It's just
I don't mind the killing.
But I'm just saying, I think it's to get to the final end.
I can't believe I just said that. I don't mind the killing. If he has to do it, I understand. It's the brutalness. It's the look in his eyes. It's the change that you see in him. It's the way that he cocks his shoulders back. He stands different, and there's an arrogance to when he's killing, where before it was just, I have to do this, I'm going to do this and get it done. And right now there's just such a darkness to when he does it. And I think that's the journey that we're going to see him go on the rest of the season, is he's going to battle with this back and forth.
And I think as long as it doesn't spill into his relationship with Tara or what kind of dad he is, then we're fine.
Right.
Then he's doing it if he has to do this because again, it's to be in that dirty world and to pull them out of this mess that Clay has gotten them so deep in.
Yeah, and he has to figure it out.
And to go against Clay, you can't blink.
No.
Against Clay, you can't be soft for a second.
He's so smart. He's so smart.
And now that he's physically strong again,
riding that bike, oxygen mask off. He's back. And we saw the whole episode him coming back.
Yes. With Jackson Pope, we see that Pope has this respect for him.
Yeah.
We see that, and I buy it because Pope gets to the level he gets to because he knows people.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that Jax is somewhere in Jax is a good, straight up guy and a smart leader.
Right.
And I don't need to compete with this guy because I know Jax isn't going to come to kill me out of emotions.
Right.
I'm banking on the fact that Jax is a smart enough leader who just wants to engage in good business.
Right. Which he's shown Pope that, and
Pope
it's
can see
great.
that. Right.
And Pope sees huge potential.
Right.
In Jax, which I like. And I feel like their agreements and their conversations and everything between them this far have been great, and it's a great relationship, and I feel like him being around people like Pope are going to make him the best leader of the MC that he can be.
It's so interesting because for the longest time I'm like, okay, Pope is our supervillain, and you know what? Clay's our supervillain. I'm not looking at Pope.
Absolutely.
But now, you know what? Well, now that Pope is kind of warming all of us up,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a pawn in this, where he's going to get sacrificed. Because I don't know if they're going to be ready as a series to get rid of Clay. I think the character of Clay and I think the actor is very well liked by FX. I don't know if they're ready to get rid of him. So it's just interesting. And I know I'm getting into big predictions, but let's talk about Jax and Nero.
Okay.
So Jax and Nero have their tete-a-tete,
Mm-hmm.
and he basically, goes at him and says, okay, fine, you want Gemma, she's yours. But even in that exchange, Nero's good enough. He's also giving him advice.
Well, what I think is brilliant on the writing with Nero is that Nero's almost becoming the father that Jax didn't have. And not
that he was supposed to have.
Yeah, like Nero's been very father figure to Jax. He's also taking the role with Gemma as kind of like the big man,
He's
the right
being what
man.
Clay was supposed to be.
Yeah,
which
and
means he's so dead.
Great. But it's crazy that he just has come in and he's become like he gives Jax great information and great perspective on the way that he's doing his businesses and saying that he can't beat up his mom and the things that he's coming to Jax with are what you would think a father figure would. And it's great to see that relationship developing between Jax and Nero.
Clay's so going to kill him.
There's a big concern.
I mean, again, you've got Jimmy Smits, who's great, but
Clay's always
Ron
a step
Perl-
ahead of everyone.
And Ron Perlman's been there so long. I go to the business aspect of this. How does FX let Ron Perlman go?
Well, they're going to have to.
Yeah, I think the last episode or the last two or three episodes.
I agree.
I mean, but maybe not. You never know. But I think if he wasn't liked in the background, then they'd say they could and the show could go on. But I have a funny feeling everyone I talk to has nothing but great things to say about Ron Perlman.
And where does it go without him?
That goes a long way. Oh, my God. I mean, you've got Pope. You have... I mean, they're always in trouble. These guys are always...
But it's always because of Clay. Right now, every problem that the club has gotten into in the past 2 seasons has all been directly affected from Clay.
But Pope came out of nowhere. Nero came out of nowhere.
Right.
A good writer could bring so many more nemesises out of those nemesis.
True. It just becomes a different series, I guess.
And frankly, I love Ron Perlman. I don't want to see it. I'm just saying it could be done with the quality of the writing. It's possible, but yeah, I feel like it's better business for them to hang on to Ron Perlman, and I think that they probably like him enough. So all these people who are getting caught in the crossfire, I just don't hold your breath for them, because I think he prevails until the end, and then who knows? We had I think one of our YouTube viewers had commented that the show ends with Jax dying. Just something interesting, to throw out there. I hope not. Jax and the sheriff. So it's like, okay, fine. You want to play on the same team? Sheriff says, well, you bring me Frankie Johnson, and I give you the rat. So how does that play out? Smarty pants.
The sheriff's backing himself into a corner.
So he's going to have to... He's also... You're right, because Clay
He's
may have
backing
to.
himself into a corner. He's screwing himself. Like, I understand why he's doing it, because he's not thinking like a cop anymore. He's thinking like a husband that just lost his wife and his unborn child.
Right.
So he's completely acting on emotion, and he's backing himself into the corner because there's more of them than there are him. And he's not going to come out of this unscathed. Is that even a word? Did I use that word
No, you're right. You did.
Perfect.
You did.
Sometimes I throw words out there and use them at the total wrong place. But he's not going to come out. He's not. There's no way. He's backing himself into a corner, and it's hard to watch.
Maybe he pays instead of juice. Maybe.
I would love to see him pay instead of juice.
Yeah, I could do without him.
I'm okay without the sheriff.
Yeah,
I'd like maybe I'll bring Hunter back. I mean, he's dying, but hey, I'm okay without the sheriff. I prefer to have juice around.
Let's talk about, of course, Jackson Clay and their summit at the end, and he says to him, "Hey, she's gonna need you." And we know, watching it, I didn't know exactly what he was doing, but now.
Right. Well, it was kind of weird that Jax was talking to Tara, and I have this plan. It was Clay, and we have to bring it to the club. We have to bring it to the table so that we can cut him out and kill him.
Right.
And then the next thing you see is him with Clay. And so you had to know that it was, part of his plan, but unsure as to where it would go from there.
Right.
And it was he looked to go to Clay with, listen, I have nothing that I need for you to have. I don't need to give you anything. I don't need anything from you. I'm worried about my mom, and you're the only person she has right now. And he was like, I'm washing my hands of her. She's yours. And I feel like the way that he did it and the way that he went about it was very believable to Clay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if Clay would see through something like that.
No, but like you said, he's blinded because Gemma is his
because
weakness.
it's Gemma. Gemma's his Achilles heel.
Because Gemma is always been the power force. Clay's just been her thug.
Yeah.
From the beginning, killing the father, and doing all the damage. He's been the thug, but she's always been pulling the strings.
Absolutely.
So she pulls his strings. So
and
I
he's
buy it.
stronger with her by his side.
Yeah, always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Always has been.
So this was Jax's way of getting Clay to kind of be a little weak for a moment and hear him, and he had to use Gemma to do it.
And it's so great when he goes to Gemma and says, "Okay, you want to be with the kids?" And again, being cold and ice running through his veins, the unpopular thing to do as a leader. You want to be with the grandkids ever again? You need to now, Mom, go sleep with this sociopath murderer. Get in with him, make him feel like a king. Get him to drop his guard.
Get the info.
Get the info, just like you guys always did.
Right.
He said, just like you guys always used to do. And then we get the proof we need.
Which he's expecting Nero to be okay with the situation.
He's not expecting it. Just
without Nero being there and being a part of Gemma and taking Gemma in, this whole plan wouldn't have even been able to happen.
Or live in a brothel with bangers.
Right.
That's going to be your family. Like, he is just draws the line, ice running through his veins. I mean, but again, as a son, not such a nice thing to do. As a leader, really the smart thing.
Well, and he knows it's the only way to get to Clay is through Gemma. He knows there's no way.
And but he's willing to throw his mom. He's willing to have his mom sleep.
Who almost just killed his two kids because she was high. So yeah, I might be willing to throw her under the bus too at that point.
So that's true.
I mean, there's people that you have to cut out of your life for things, and the things that Gemma has done to Jax and the boys and Tara, she's given them plenty of reasons to be cut out of their life, and they've kept bringing her back in because she's kept saying she would change and be better, and this is her only chance.
Well, I think and I think that's why he doesn't care whether she loves Nero or not. It's not about that.
Right.
It's just
no.
But I feel like this is him maturing as a leader, making the unpopular decisions.
Absolutely.
So and now it just sets up so much. But let's go to news and gossip, and then there's lots of predictions for next week.
Yes.
News.
Not too much news and gossip for this week. Obviously, for all of our listeners that are on the East Coast, we're definitely thinking of you guys and praying for you. And I know that God, I can't even. The pictures are mind blowing. And Theo Rossi from the show Juice is actually in New York right now and has been tweeting a lot about what's going on and saying that there's so many people that don't have anywhere to go. He says he's one of them, so he's kind of out there just helping everyone else and
Because he can't fly home.
Right, he can't fly home, and I want to say that he may have actually been evacuated as well. That's how it seems to read from his Twitter feed. So he's telling all his following to just get out there and help people if you can. And Red Cross is doing amazing things. Kurt Sutter also is tweeting to the East Coast fans tonight that he knows that 8 million people are without power, and he's really trying to get the show to re-air on Saturday for all the East Coast viewers. Hopefully they'll be able to get it and not miss the episode.
And as we were saying before we went up on the air, I have to think that the Northeast is probably one of the more popular regions for this show.
I would totally agree with that. I mean, we did a motorcycle show on the East Coast, and our fan following was huge because the motorcycle community is huge in the East Coast. So I'm sure that they're going to take a hit in viewers tonight because of it. And I also love that Sutter's trying to help out his fans and thinking about them and knowing that, this is his bread and butter. He has to take care of these people. So it was great.
And I mean, he wants to have those numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger, and this is really kind of a punch to the groin.
Yeah,
to really trip them up. And Maria Menounos is there, and
I've been watching her Twitter feed.
And she's saying, the subways have never been filled with water.
Never.
It's really a disaster.
Yeah, they were carrying babies down 9 flights of stairs, pumping air by their hands while they were carrying babies down to evacuate hospitals last night. So it's brutal. And we're thinking of everyone out there on the East Coast as well here. Also, a little Halloween news for Teller Morrow. They're saying, the cast, Chris Reed being one of them, so I can't wait to talk to him next week. They're saying that the Teller Morrow lot on the show is haunted. That there's a dark spirit that they can all feel when they're on the lot. So
where they shoot the show.
Where they shoot the show. The Teller Morrow lot. Which there's some great videos on the FX website about the haunted lot. So everyone go check them out. And that's it for news and gossip this week.
Interesting. All right, we should go to predictions.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we didn't talk a lot about Frankie, Chuck Zito, but we see,
dead.
Next week.
Dead. He's dead.
Dead next week.
Dead. He's got to be.
So
maybe he'll last 2 more episodes, but he's dead.
And who kills him?
Oh, Clay. Clay always is a step ahead of the club. He's going to get to them before everyone else does.
And by the way, so you've got this big, giant brute.
Mm-hmm.
And for Clay to take him back, take him out, is there any question that Clay is not back as the badass biker we knew him to be?
Right.
But I think you're right. And we see a shot of a door get kicked open where he's got the pump shotgun. So
yeah,
he gets him before everybody, and the secrets die with him, with Frankie.
And everyone's secrets die because of Clay. Clay kills everyone.
And we don't think Chibs is okay, right? He's not going to die from that, from Frankie's shot to the head.
I would hope not.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a lot of blood, but he didn't shoot him. He hit him, so we're hoping that somebody finds him on the side of the road where he left him.
We didn't talk about it, but I told you I was fine with. I was actually better with that than him being shot. First of all, we don't want to lose Chibs.
No.
But second of all, I don't think I think if you're Frankie, all that does is anger the club, make the club.
It's one more thing.
Now it's just a money thing. Hey,
yep.
You were offered a business deal by Clay, the former president. You took it.
Right.
And that's it. Hey, shit happens. But if you went and did that, there was just no reason to do it. So I'm glad they let him go. It was interesting, Guinea, and so typical of Irish and Italians hating each other, which is so typical.
I would have loved to see the club get Frankie first and have them bring Frankie to the table.
We don't know that.
I don't believe that will happen.
I don't think so either. I want you to remember the fact that Pope said to Jax, when Jax said, geez, I wish I had a goon squad like that, he goes, you can, or you would, or you will, or basically if
working with me.
Stick with me. So we know that Frankie buys the mob in next week's episode, and now he buys protection from the mafia, right?
Yep.
So I'm predicting that it'll be Pope's army against the mafia. And that's what's going to get Pope tighter with Jax.
Yeah.
And because he said, you're going to have an army with me.
Yep.
That's my predictions.
It's going to be a lot of death in the next couple episodes.
Of course, we're so excited to be back next week.
Yes.
All right, Krisily, how do we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Krisily.
At Krisily.
Krisily. Be careful, I tweet a lot.
Krisily. Krisily. Okay, you guys, please, 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 more comments and ratings at iTunes.
Yes.
And questions, send them. And I don't know. You'll have to wait another 6 days like us for next week. I'm so excited.
So brutal.
Yeah, awful.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Oh, yeah, happy Halloween.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.